Now by Andrew Mangan from Arseblog. Andrew, welcome.
Thank you very much for having me.
What do you make of Arsenal's season so far? Obviously, still going well for that top four. Are you happy with everything?
It's been a weird season because I think there was big expectation in the summer. You know, after we won the FA Cup last season and you spend a lot of money on a player like Alexis Sanchez, transfer business in the summer, I think people expected a bit more from the first half of the season. There were other factors, of course. We lacked a central defender. That was where we fell down in the transfer market. And then you had players coming back from the World Cup a bit tired. We didn't necessarily have the depth in the right to cope. And I think some of the results were obviously disappointing, to say the least. And I think maybe other teams doing well in the early part of the season, it opened up this gap, which is pretty much insurmountable. It's a little bit closer now, but the first part of the season was particularly frustrating, and it's gotten better. There are still some frustrating moments like Tottenham away, Southampton away, but in general things have been improving over the last 2 to 3 months in terms of performances and obviously results. So look, we're still alive in the FA Cup. There's still a chance of a trophy. Still battling away for top four, even though people wanted a transfer challenge again, or a title challenge, I should say. But look, it's grand, I suppose, is where I'd finish up on that. Could have been better, could be worse, but I think there's a lot of clubs that would like to swap places with us.
Of course. One of those teams that you mentioned started well was West Ham. Since then, we've faded away quite a bit.
Yeah.
What have you made of our season so far?
It's been interesting, some of the players that you brought in, that you wouldn't necessarily associate them with Sam Allardyce. Some really exciting players up front. Sacco has been really fun to watch. Valencia too, very good. And obviously, I think you were much higher up the table than people would have expected. I think it's kind of funny, not funny, but I think the relationship between the West Ham fans and Sam Allardyce, it's kind of a strange one, because when they were doing, or when you were doing so well earlier in the season, I think there's a group of, or there's always, we have it at Arsenal as well, where regardless of how well the team does, they still want them. They want the manager out. And Allardyce I don't think he's necessarily the easiest person to warm to, So no, I mean, I don't know what you guys were expecting from your season, but look, it's good to be up around that end of the table, and you've had some great results as well.
Well, you mentioned some exciting players we've got there. Obviously, one of the people we brought in was Alex Song, former Arsenal midfielder. Were you disappointed Arsenal didn't go in for him? Do you think he could have made your squad better than it is now?
There was definitely an issue with the centre of our midfield because Mikel Arteta, who I think a lot of people write off a bit unfairly, has been plagued with injuries. And I think some of the problems that we had this season wouldn't have been quite as bad if Arteta had been fit, because he's a guy who can help you control the game. He's calm on the ball, good in possession. But I think what we've seen over the last couple of months is that since Francis Coquelin has come back, he's brought things to the team that we were missing. An aggressivity, he wins the ball, he uses the ball well, and you can see that the gap that we had in midfield has been filled. Your question about whether I was disappointed about Alex Song, absolutely not. He was a player who was way too early at Arsenal, way too early. He wasn't ready to be playing for Arsenal at the time that he was. And to his credit, he really, really improved over a couple of seasons, to the point where, amazingly to me, Barcelona spent actual money on him. And, I think that has to go down as one of the great transfer deals of all time. I think he's done a really good job for you guys. But I think as well that there are elements to his game which frustrate. And despite what we were missing, I wasn't prepared to go through that frustration again with him. That's the diplomatic way of putting it, right?
Of course. Yeah, I mean, in general, he started very well for the club. He was sort of our key man in midfield and dictating games himself. But I have to say, since Christmas almost, he's really dropped off, whether that's a fitness issue or a mentality issue. But he certainly is one who's not been nearly as exceptional as he was at the beginning of the season, which a lot of fans have been calling for him to be dropped, which he actually was in the last game. So hopefully that'll make him realise that he does need to up his game. It's not just going to be walking into the team, no matter how he plays. So yeah, you can see his quality, and you can see why Barcelona saw that in him. But I think in terms of consistency, he's nowhere near there in terms of what you'd expect from one of your key players.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. He's obviously got some talent, but the application and the concentration, commitment wasn't always there for us either. So.
And then finally, Andrew, what's your prediction going into this game? Obviously, it was quite tight at Upton Park back earlier in the season. Alex Song had a disallowed goal that day. In fact, do you think
that was one of the funniest moments of the season, wasn't it? Where he was like, "I'm not celebrating this goal because it's against my former club," and then it was disallowed, and he went mental.
Might be funny for you. It was pretty devastating for all of us. Yeah.
Sorry, no, I realise that's my perspective on it. But look, I think it's probably going to be a tight game again. It's always difficult to play against a Sam Allardyce team, even if he has changed a little bit. We're in decent form. We were obviously coming off the back of a great win at Old Trafford. Recover from what was a terrible game against Monaco, really disheartening and dispiriting defeat to Monaco in the Champions League, and that's 3 in a row now that we've won. So you'd expect the team at home to keep that going. I don't think it'll be easy, but I would be hopeful of an Arsenal win.
Well, best of luck for the game. Hopefully you're wrong, but yeah, we'll have to see how it goes.
I know how it is. All right, thanks very much.
All right, thanks, Andrew. Bye-bye.